Jay-Z goes all out for his grandma's 100th birthday celebration. There are moments in life that go beyond celebrity status. Moments that feel like a gentle pause in the chaos of fame and remind even the richest and most powerful that what truly matters is family. One of those moments happened recently when Jay-Z, the Brooklyn-born rap mogul who built an empire out of his rhymes and business moves, put everything aside to honor the woman who started it all for his family, his grandmother, Hattie White. A video capturing Hattie standing proudly at the center of the room, speaking to her family during her 100th birthday celebration, has gone viral, not because of glitz or spectacle, but because of the emotion it radiated. Here was a woman who had lived through a century of American history, from the days of segregation in the Jim Crow South to seeing her grandson become one of the wealthiest and most influential men in the world, married to one of the most beloved entertainers of all time. The celebration, which took place on September 27th, wasn't just another A-list event. It was a milestone, a family reunion, and a spiritual gathering all rolled into one. Hattie White, born in 1925 in Aiken, South Carolina, turned 100 surrounded by generations of her bloodline. For anyone who knows the story of Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, this moment was deeply symbolic. Jay has often spoken about growing up in Brooklyn's Marcy projects, about the pain of losing his father when he was young, about the struggles his mother, Gloria Carter, faced raising her children, and about the people who gave him a sense of grounding even when his environment felt like it was stacked against him. Hattie White is that type of person, the family anchor, the matriarch whose quiet influence shaped the Carter family values. The party itself was a sight to behold, but not in the flashy, over-the-top sense that Hollywood events often are. Instead, it felt like something that could have been lifted straight out of a warm family album. The venue was intimate, softly lit, filled with flowers and family photos, with soulful music playing that seemed to capture every era of Hattie's life. From the sounds of jazz and blues she grew up on, to the hip-hop beats that her grandson made famous, it was clear this wasn't about impressing the world. It was about honoring a woman who had given so much of herself to her family and to life itself. Jay-Z, usually a man who keeps his emotions close to his chest, was visibly moved. He stood nearby with Beyoncé, their children Blue Ivy, Rumi, and Sir close by, watching as Hattie spoke. There was no sense of performance here, no cameras, no interviews, just family. For fans who later saw clips of the moment online, it felt like a rare glimpse behind the curtain into a family that has spent much of the last decade guarding their privacy. Those who have followed Jay-Z and Beyoncé's journey know that Hattie White's words have already been immortalized in pop culture. Back in 2016, when Beyoncé released her now iconic album Lemonade, the outro of her song Freedom featured a sample of Hattie's 90th birthday speech. In that speech, Hattie said words that resonated with millions. "I had my ups and downs, but I always find the inner strength to pull myself up. I was served lemons, but I made lemonade." That phrase became the heartbeat of an entire album, an album about pain, betrayal, healing, and redemption. And it also became a mantra for an entire generation of women who saw themselves reflected in Beyoncé's vulnerability. Hattie's 100th birthday speech carried that same energy, that same gentle strength that comes only from someone who has truly lived. Those present say that as she spoke, the room grew quiet, and even the children stopped fidgeting, as if instinctively knowing that they were in the presence of someone who had seen and survived more than they could imagine. Hattie talked about love, about faith, about what it means to keep going even when life throws its hardest punches. She reminded her family that everything they have now, the success, the wealth, the recognition, means nothing if they lose sight of the values that keep them together. The emotional weight of that moment was not lost on Jay-Z, who has built a career around storytelling. If you look back at some of his work, you can see the imprint of women like Hattie all over it. The quiet strength, the ability to transform pain into power, the idea that dignity must be preserved even when the world tries to strip it away. That's why this celebration felt so powerful, because for once, Jay-Z wasn't the center of attention. He was just a grandson honoring the woman who shaped the foundation he stands on. Beyoncé, too, was deeply engaged in the moment. Known for her own strong connection to family and for often channeling her Southern roots into her music, she looked emotional as she listened. For Beyoncé, who has lost several maternal figures in her own life, moments like this are sacred. She has spoken openly about the influence of her own grandmother and great-grandmother, and it's clear that Hattie White's presence means something profound to her as well. Blue Ivy, who has been growing into her own star power lately, stood proudly by her great-grandmother, representing the fourth generation of strong Carter women. The celebration was a reminder of how rare it is to reach 100 years of age, and how important it is to honor those who come before us. Hattie White was born at a time when the country was deeply segregated, when opportunities for Black women were limited, and yet she managed to raise a family whose name is now known all over the globe. That alone is a triumph worth celebrating. Those who know the Carter family say that this milestone was something Jay-Z had been quietly planning for months. It's not in his nature to broadcast these personal things, but insiders say he made sure that every detail was perfect. From the food, which reportedly included traditional Southern dishes in a nod to Hattie's roots, to the music, which spanned every decade of her life. He wanted the day to be about joy, about family coming together, about creating a memory that would live on for generations to come. Fans who saw the viral video online left thousands of comments, many saying how inspired they felt seeing a family celebrate such a powerful matriarch. Others noted that moments like this are important in reminding the world that behind the fame, behind the headlines, there are real people who cry, laugh, love, and grieve just like everyone else. The Carter family may be one of the most famous families in the world, but at the end of the day, they are also just a family honoring their grandmother. For Jay-Z, who has always been private about his personal life, sharing even a glimpse of this celebration felt significant. It's another layer of the legacy he is building, not just one of music and business, but of family and generational strength. In many ways, Hattie White is the original blueprint. She laid the foundation for the resilience, determination, and pride that would later turn her grandson into a billionaire and cultural icon. It's easy to get caught up in the celebrity side of things. The fact that Beyoncé was there, that this was an event full of powerful people. But what made it so special was how uncelebrity it all felt. This wasn't about press coverage or about going viral, though it eventually did. It was about love, about legacy, about a family pausing to acknowledge the woman who had survived a century and still stood tall, still smiling, still guiding them with her wisdom, and perhaps that's why this moment resonated so deeply with fans. In a world where the news is often filled with negativity, scandals, and chaos, seeing a clip of a grandmother turning 100 and being celebrated by her family is a breath of fresh air. It's a reminder of what we all hope for: to live a long life, to see our children and grandchildren thrive, to know that the sacrifices we made meant something. For Hattie White, that dream has been realized. She has lived long enough to watch her grandson not just escape poverty, but rewrite the rules of music, business, and culture. She has seen her family become a symbol of Black excellence, admired all over the world. And on her 100th birthday, she was able to look around the room and know that everything she fought for, every hardship she endured, led to this moment.